One of the 4,000 stories. Dear Ada, October 2nd, 2025. It has been 6 weeks since I've handed over the keys of the field of Y. I am lost as shite. Since the months running up to the event, I've almost spent 80 to 100 hours a week working on it, together with hashtag Team Art. Who is Art, you might ask? I will explain that later. For now, this is a weird experience that I was warned for by Elger and other people who were in my shoes before me. I am at the one conference today, and it's the second best yearly cyber event of the Netherlands, because WICON is the best, of course. And I spoke to him about it. It's the after camp effect, notorious within organizers, working towards a goal and then the time and energy afterwards, figuring out what to do with your life next. I have to do a presentation at WICON in a couple of weeks, and I discussed with Chantal today that a diary would be a nice idea, maybe. Of course, if I had a diary, she would be called Ada. October 30th, 2025. Dear Ada, it's here today, my WICON presentation. And there is so much to tell. Also, since it's been 10 weeks only, there is so much data and stats that are not completely sorted out yet. I will tell the story about what the event is, why I think dual leadership is a concept that should be used more, and some cool stories of things that happened. It's kind of hard to tell everything in only 60 minutes, especially when you are on stage between a full day filled with amazing women with tremendous stories and the after party with beers. I might have to explain a little bit more about the event itself and the hopes and dreams of IFCAT as well. Next to my personal journey, that is. Mine is just one of many stories. Around 4,000 to be exact. So here it goes. One of these adventures. Who am I? Hi, my name is Nancy. I play games for a living. I have to click for my photo, I guess, but you see me on stage anyway, so that's not a problem. It's me. I hack, I'm a hobby social engineer, and next to that I'm also a co-chair of IFCAT, which is a voluntary function, and I am player one at Happy Game Changers. Like I said, I have approximately 160 games that I play in professional settings, in all kinds of categories. Oh, and also, I added this last minute because Chantal told me to. I'm an avid volunteer for the Special Olympics. There's something called Paralympics. Most people know that. There's also something called Special Olympics. Yay! We have a fan! And the Special Olympics is for people with intellectual disabilities. And they have a communication department. Her name is Marijke. And that is why I always have it in my presentations, because I think more people should know of it. And next year, the national games will be here in Haarlem. 3,000 athletes will compete against each other in 27 sports. And of course, I am volunteering because I love that. So, I saw already some hands who went to Y. I have seen loads of hoodies and other merch today. Who of you have never heard of Y? Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, then I can tell you about it. So you can come next time. Okay, so a short history lesson. If you want the longer history lesson, you can go to WICON 2024 and look for the talk by Christel Boekenwurm, who's over there. Raise your hands. Yay! You can find her and she will give the complete overview of the full history. But for now, I will just leave it at this. It's a hacker conference. It's every 4 years. It started in 89 with the Galactic Hacker Party in Paradiso. And then every 4 years, except for MCH, because things happened, it was in 2022. And then the next edition was why. The thing is, it's marketing hell because somehow people came up with the amazing idea to give the event a different name every 4 years. I know some people are not pretty much a proponent of that because it takes a lot of time and energy to explain every single time it's the same event but by another name. But the majority of the hacker community, at least in the Netherlands, is a proponent of having a different name each and every single time. So we have to reinvent ourselves. Okay. So we do that. So every time we have a backronym, which means we start out with letters first and then we figure out what it means. And this edition, it was why. And you might have seen the hoodies around. It said on the back, what hackers yearn for. And we forget about the for because it's a Dutchism to leave out the for, but that's fine. That's a whole different story in itself. It was last August at Geestmerambacht, which is a bit of a hard one if you're an international speaker, non-native Dutch speaker. It's near Alkmaar. We stay approximately 42 kilometers north of Amsterdam. Insider joke. And it was 5 days outdoor event, fully run and organized by volunteers. And I think in this time and age, that is amazing. That you still can find people who want to organize something like this, which is so great and grand. And we had 42 teams with over 250 volunteers, sacrificing 2 years of their time to organize an event just for other hackers. I think our treasurer Henry quoted it nicely. He said, okay, so other festivals are organized for visitors. We organize an event for our friends. And that is what it truly felt like. So what's to talk about Boekenwurm? From last year, if you want to know more and want to know more about the history, because she did a great job last year. And that is also kind of interesting because we do it together. And I will talk about that a little bit more later. Dear Ada, February 12, 2023. Today I am at Hacker Hotel. Though some people, especially at Wiccan, think it does not exist. I went to a talk by Stitch, who was giving an overview of the aftermath of MCH 2022. May contain hackers, if you are curious about the backronym. He also told the audience that after 2 editions, it is time to make place in the board of IFCAT and the project team of the next event. There he is. Vacancies in IFCAT. If you have no clue what Y was, then you have absolutely no clue what IFCAT is. This is what IFCAT is. If what? IFCAT. So I put a TLDR DR in there because it's the end of the day. We are responsible. We have a board of 4 people. We are volunteers. 2 of the 4 people are in the audience, so you have 50% here. And we make sure that every 4 years there's a hacker event. That's basically what we do. That's our core thing, what we do. But also, if we have some leftover money, because we have a turnover of approximately 1.5 million, we give away to events like this. So we are also a sponsor for to help people who don't have that much money to get them to hacker-friendly events. But the main thing that we do is organize an event. Someone came up with an interesting name. I am not going to change that. Although sometimes my hands itch, especially when you receive letters or something. But so you have the board, and then you have an organization every 4 years. Dear Ada, June 2023. I am volunteering for the Special Olympics World Summer Games in Berlin at the moment. And I had a chat with Paul, who is my better half, by the way, about the fact that I might want to become an IFCAT board member and by that also one of the core organizers of the next big hacker event. His reaction was a little bit mixed. His first reaction was which is understandable. His second reaction was, if anyone can do it, it's you. So luckily, it helps me a lot that I have a great partner next to me who will support me all the way. So after I came back from Berlin, I sent a message to Elger. Hey Stitch, this is very Dutch. Can we have a talk about this thing you did? And so we did. We had a talk. And then there was I received an email from Boekenburm, actually, about an autumn party. That's autumn. We went there and, you look surprised. That's interesting. It's your mail. You send it. And then I heard that she also was reached out to ask, okay, you are chair of one of the very coolest hackerspaces in Eindhoven. Well, the only hackerspace in Eindhoven, but also, so maybe, and you also have been in Projectleiding before, so in the Orga before. So they were like, well, maybe you want to become a chair. And we were both a little bit searching from, like, what are we going to do with this? And then we came up with a solution called dual leadership. And I want to make a big vouch for dual leadership. Because from our experience, we talked about it a lot beforehand, during and afterwards. This is a pretty hard job to make sure that 250 volunteers are in so many teams, that everything comes together in the end. And of course, also life happens, right? Sometimes life happens. You have a bad day, you have a bad week, and sometimes you even have a bad month. Things happen, and it's so nice to have two people there, and you can split tasks. Of course, you can support each other along the way. And also, sharing all the things that are going on. The nice thing, I think, between us, is that our characters really differ, but we have loads and loads of fun together. So we really like each other a lot. And, we leave our egos at home when we are together. When we are together on a stage. Last year she was on the stage, now I'm on the stage. So you can balance a lot of the work that you do as well. And I think that is very awesome. You do have to accept differences in viewpoints because we are not the same and we don't think the same about a lot of things. And one of the things, and I know some of you might really want to know, something about it, is the fact that at the opening ceremony, I was wearing the Y badge with a battery, and Crystal was wearing the Y badge on the same stage without a battery. Which is fine, because differences are okay, as long as you can talk about it and find common ground. And our goal was the same: organize an amazing event with a very cool badge. And we did that. This was last year at WICON, by the way. You must have seen us at loads of places if you go to hacker events occasionally. Because these are all the speaking gigs and workshops we did. Which is also, maybe I'm even missing some. Could be. I'm not quite sure. I have to check it. Am I missing some? Oh, okay. En Lug Vosdem. Oh yeah, I'm missing En Lug Vosdem. Okay. So it was even more. Also, I spammed all my customers with it. So, because I'm on stages a lot. So all my customers know that I organize why. And a shitload of podcasts we both did. So that's also nice if you have a dual leadership. If you do it together, you can split. There was even one point that, Crystal was doing a presentation in the UK and I was doing it in Eindhoven at the same time. or at least at the same day. But I think there was a couple of hours in between. And I think that helps a lot if you are pulling off a stunt like this. So yeah, I really love that. And I will add the other events as well. FOSDEM was also cool. Yeah, spoke to a lot of people there. Dear Ada, where's my September? Let's see where my September is. Henry and Stitch, blah, blah, blah. After party in Elst, blah, blah, blah. There it is. September 2024. Yes. Dear Ada, I think we could do something about other ways of promotion. So I was thinking about it, and I got talking with Ott and Chantal because they are also part of the Angry Nerds podcast. And I created some rough doc with some idea of a YCast or something like that. Let's have a chat. 1 week later, the first episode of the YCast was born. And we did 46 episodes with 42 guests of the YCast. So if you, after an hour of listening to me right now, want to hear more of me, is Ott in the audience? Woo! There's my counterpart. And Chantal is also here. I miss you, Ott. I miss speaking to you every week for hours. Many hours. So we did a podcast to promote some of the things, and we also tried out some new things. If you go to YouTube, Spotify, or anything, you can find us, and you can find I call Otto Influencer and myself. One of the other things that we also wanted to break with was we have always done it like that. And of course, some good practices or best practices are good to keep because some things just work. And it's been years of experience of people who know exactly what they are doing. But some things were just like that because we have always done it like that. For instance, ticket sales starts at Congress, the Chaos Computer Club Congress in Germany. And I said, well, but why? Yeah, because then everybody knows that the ticket sale starts by then. Yeah, I said, no, but I know that. But like in the Netherlands, we have some people who still celebrate Sinterklaas. And that's December 5. Maybe some people want to buy tickets for Sinterklaas, for their spouse, or for their kid. Because mind you, at our hacker camp, there were 380 children younger than 16. There was a complete family village where robots were being built and all kinds of things where we even had daycare. So having children is not an excuse not to come. Mind you. And well, we discussed a lot, and then we decided, okay, let's try and open up the ticket sales before Sinterklaas. And then this happened. The blue line was ticket sales 2022, and the orange line is ticket sales 2025. And as you can see, we sold a lot of tickets before Congress. And I love Congress. We've been there. I love it, but I think that was an amazing thing. Also, a lot of noise by Team Info, all the volunteers, all the people who were there at all the events at FOSDEM. Also, a big shout out to Marike, who came up with the tiaras, which we saw white tiaras everywhere, all over the place at all the events. I think that was amazing. And it really helped to get the vibe going and get the tickets sold. Which is nice because you have to pay for catering things, all kinds of things that I will also show. Also, what I liked a lot, I don't have the numbers yet because reasons. Of course, I always like to see more women in tech. I like to see more diversity on stage. And I know that sometimes you have to help underrepresented groups a little bit to get them on the stage. So we teamed up with Wicca, which also organizes this lovely event, and we organized a CF Pizza Night in May. Sorry for that. What we wanted to do by that is give underrepresented groups the opportunity to get help with their CFPs. Because I know it can be very intimidating. We know it can be very intimidating. There's a lot of imposter syndrome going on everywhere. And it might help if people help you get your CFP out of the door. Or maybe brainstorm a little bit about a tiny idea that you have and then make sure that you can upload it. So we organized it. I think it could be very useful to have some more sessions like this in the near future, also for other events, because we still see Wiccan is absolutely an exception at a lot of stages that it's very much male dominated. And I think this is one of the things that could help to get women to submit CFPs. Because one of the things that we hear, and I'm looking at Chantal right now, is, yeah, but we don't get any CFPs from women or other underrepresented groups. I think there are numerous reasons for that, but this could be one or a part of the solution to get more women on stage. So we haven't talked about a follow-up yet, but I think it would be worth it. At the beginning of the presentation, wait a minute. How far am I in? Please stand up. I know it's the end of the day. So this is my work. I know you can listen for approximately 20 minutes and then you doze off. That's what happens. Which is fine, which is okay. I think you're like 25, maybe 30 minutes off from the real beers. For now, you have to do with me. So we do a little intermezzo. So when I say start, you start moving on the spot, and when I say stop, you stop. Yeah? Start. Stop. Start. Stop. Start. Stop. Perfect. Turn it around. When I say stop, you start. When I say start, you stop. Stop. Start. Very well done. Start. Stop. Start. I know. Stop. 4 more rounds. When I say stop, start. I mean start. Start, start, start. When I say stop, you start. When I say start, you stop. When I say clap, you clap. When I say jump, you jump. Yep. Stop. Perfect. Clap. Clap. Jump. Start. Oh, stop. Clap. Jump. Stop. Start. Clap. Clap, 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 clap. Jump. Start. Perfect. Round number 3. When I say stop, you start. When I say start, you stop. When I say clap, you jump. When I say jump, you clap. Start. Go. Stop. Clap. Jump. Clap. Jump. Start. Oh, stop. Start. And start again. 5th round. When I say start, you stop. When I say stop, you start. When I say clap, you jump. When I say jump, you clap. When I say dance, you dance on the spot. And when I say name, you shout out your name. Start. Very good. Clap. Jump. Start. Stop. Clap. Dance. Dance. Name. Start. Stop. Clap. Jump. Name. Dance. And start. Last round. When I say stop, you start. When I say start, you stop. When I say clap, you jump. When I say jump, you clap. When I say dance, you shout out your name. And when I say name, you start to dance on the spot. Start! Very good. Stop! Clap! Name! Dance! Clap! Jump! Stop! Clap! Jump! And start again. You may sit down. Thank you very much. Ik denk niet dat ik het nodig heb. Oh, oké. Yes, so you're awake again. Hi! Thank you for playing with me. Perfect. So, I was talking about Team Art. This is a funny little inside joke, especially for Dutchies. Are there any non-Dutchies here? Because otherwise yes, I have to explain. Cool. Team Art, Mr. Art, he's called in the Dutch Sesame Street. And he is the angry neighbor. He looks like an angry neighbor, right? So he's from the Dutch Sesame Street, but his last name is Staartjes, which loosely translates to loose ends. So that's why we called our team Team Art. And the team consisted of number 3, who is not here at the moment. He's the secretary of IFCAT. Boekenworm. Number 3 actually had a white-betical from his job. Boekenworm was in between jobs. And I was just having my own company and no work. So, so we had time to put in some extra time in the last couple of months for the loose ends Team Art. So hereby, we have explained Team Art. Let me check. So we open up the kaartverkoop. Yes, very nice that I put that word in Dutch. Also, in February, we started with the permit. Well, actually, we started with the permit in September, even earlier. But we sent in our first permit request in February. And that was way too early, according to the municipality. Permits are interesting. I can tell you that. Permits are interesting. So we had the hashtag blijmoedig voorwaarts. Blijmoedig is something like, it's happy and brave at the same time. Blij is happy and moedig is courageous. So blijmoedig and voorwaarts is going forward. So blijmoedig voorwaarts is something like, we stay happy and courageous and we move on. It didn't always feel that way, but the hashtag helped. So, but the very first permit that we got was actually the permit for the firewall. And it will be in the presentation later. Yay! For the people who've been there. Yay! The firewall. I will show the firewall later. The firewall was awesome. And I was really surprised that we got that one first. So was the mayor, who was showed around the terrain. He saw the firewall and he was like, holy smokes, what's that? And Henry, who was next to him in the car, said to him, yeah, and you gave the permit. And I just loved that moment. So actually we are invited to come and visit the mayor in a couple of weeks' time, because he was very impressed by what we pulled off, all of us together. So we will probably talk about the firewall there as well. Also, we became ONBI, which is a very Dutch thing in saying we are a common good and you can give money to us as a company without paying the taxes for it. So that's a good thing. And at April 1st, we had a camper joke. Because hackers grow older. And the whole hacker scene overall, if you look at hacker events from like, let's say, 20 years back and now, they are aging. And they need more luxury, basically. So we really had some camper issues. Well, we didn't have a camper issue. The people who wanted to come with a camper, after we had sold approximately 190 camper tickets already, they had a problem. But that is something that we have to think about. But we made a lovely little picture with a camper only event. And we made a fun joke about the fact that why we should become camper only. People didn't really like that, especially because it was an AI generated thing. But that's a different story altogether. Alle evenementen. Yes. And then there was, after a lot of hours of very hard work by very, very many people, The opening! Yay! And of course, I am here on a stage now, and I'm pointing at people in the audience who have also helped out. Who was in the organization of why? Look at that! Look it around! Yay! So, it took also a lot of hard work to get as much teams as possible to say hi to all the teams. To all the visitors of why, and it's a very short video, and I really love it because it shows so many more of the faces than just mine of all the people who put so much time in it. So, let's go.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Deco.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Volunteers.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Waste.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Sysadmin.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Cohesion.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Warehouse.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Finance.
Hi, welcome to Why 2025 from Productiehuis.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Safety.
Hey, hi, welcome to Why from Team Info.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team CTF.
Hi, welcome to Why 2025 from Team Press.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Sponsors.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Nuts.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Accessibility.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Villages.
Welcome from Team Party.
Welcome to Why from Team Family.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Content.
Welcome to Why 2025 from the Rock Team 73.
And welcome from Team Permit.
Oh, my dear Dave.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Terrain.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Park.
Welcome to Why 2025 from Team Knock.
Hi, and welcome to Why from Team House Steel.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team Shuttle.
Hi, welcome from Why from Team Bar.
Hi, welcome to Why from Team On-Site Logistics.
Welcome to Why 2025 by Team Badge.
Yay! Okay. So I stop recording?
Yeah. Hi, welcome to Why 2025 from Team Offsite Logistics.
This is actually from the field. Yeah, this is a little bit of a sneak. And after that we opened, and I think it's very nice to do it here again. Hi, welcome to Why from Team Projectleiding. This one is for the misfits, the rebels, and the quirkies. This one is for all genders, all creatures, and all the people who feel left out. The tinkerers, the makers, the hackers, the nerds, the dorks, and the geeks. The critical thinkers, the journalists, the politicians, the policymakers, and the whistleblowers. The creators, the builders, the breakers, and the benders. The scientists, the researchers, and the artists. Kids of all ages. Remember, adulthood is a social construct and a hoax. Welcome home. You belong here and you are not alone. And I thought that was very appropriate for Wicon as well. So this was the opening that we did at August 8th. And we are not there yet. We are not even done yet. So we are still tying some loose ends. So Team Art has become a bit bigger because we have a lot of things still to figure out, evaluations to be done. I will talk about it a little bit later. But I wanted to share, because it's the end of the day, I wanted to share some random cool stories and a bell pepper, which I found at the toilets. I don't know. Not here, by the way. This was actually at Y, and I was surprised, to say the least. Why? Why? Is it your pet bell pepper that you take to the toilet and now somebody's very sad because they forgot it? I don't know. So many questions. But I was talking a little bit about permits. And those of you who have been to our opening presentation may already have heard it, but I think it's still a cool story. And that's the Ulfrid Gate story. Or how to hack a permit. With special thanks and credits to Danielle for providing me with this little picture. Somebody please think about the Ulfrids. Okay, so municipalities hand out a permit like approximately 1 to 2 weeks before the actual event. I think that is bonkers, but it's the way it works. I don't know what happens if you don't get the permit, but that is how it works. So remember, the event started at August 8th. At July 29, I got a call, and they told me, "Oh, Nancy, before I forget, did you know that glass is not allowed on the terrain?" Okay. So we have a camping event with people coming with kids, with campers, with whiskey, with wine, with all kinds of things that go in glass, right? Mate, let's not forget about the mate. Yeah, so mate is not allowed. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that was a bit of an issue. So I said, okay, who is going to tell the mayor that the event is cancelled? Are you going to do that or me? But but let's talk about this, because what's the whole idea? The first reason was, well, there will be horses on the field and there shouldn't be any glass on the grass. And we were like, yeah, but we also have children running around barefoot. So hopefully when people break glass somewhere on the field, they will just make sure it's gone. Eventually, and I said also, we have a supermarket in place where you can buy maybe beans in glass or other things in glass or drinks in glass. So what do we do with the supermarket then? And then we finally heard back, and I said, oh, there are 180 children younger than 4 coming. Do you really ask me now to get rid of all the overeat that people are bringing? And I said, oh my goodness, no, Nancy, we cannot do that. Of course, we cannot hijack those parents. We cannot hijack all the overeat from all the parents, because we have to, who will feed the babies? Then we got an interesting call back. He said, yeah, but it has nothing to do with the horses or anything, but it has to do with the alcohol permit. So, here's a compromise. You can sell glass, in the supermarket. You can sell glass, or you can bring glass to the field, of course, because babies need to eat and hackers need to drink, but I didn't use that argument. And, but you cannot sell glass behind the bar. But hackers like to drink club mate, and it comes in glass. So we had to come up with something, and I'm not quite sure if it was Crystal or anyone else or Kato. I don't know anymore. I called Kato. Kato was head of bar team. I said, Kato, we have to do something, and I think the best thing to do is split all bars in half. And one half of the bar is a bar, and the other half of the bar is a supermarket. A mate pop-up shop. And you could also sell cans there. So that was also very awesome. So at the end of the day, we had 5 supermarkets and 4 bars. And we could sell. And we actually, there actually were some people checking it from the municipality. So they came by, I think on Sunday, not quite sure. I think it was Sunday, with their little board thingies and the checklists, and they were like, okay. Okay, so this is your bar and that is your supermarket. Yeah. Okay. We see nothing wrong here. Yes. So that was the world famous overeat gate. I think it was hilarious. Also, I was talking about the firewall. Here it is. Woo! Not all 16 flames are on there, but Timmy made it, and I think it was, Oh, it's a bit stuttering firewall. If you Google on YouTube, that's a weird sentence, okay. It's also the end of the day for me, people, sorry. If you look it up on YouTube, Firewall MCH 2025, you will find loads and loads of why, what did I say? Almost there, bear with me, almost there. But please look it up. I think Dimitri, who is also the organizer of Hacker Hotel, not this coming year, but the year afterwards, it will be there again. He put a lot of love and effort and energy in building it. He had so much fun, and it was also so much fun to get the permit for that one, because the fire department and everybody was like, oh, hell yes, this is cool. Yeah. Also, there were some neighbors complaining because they used to walk their dogs there. So I said, okay. So they asked us for warning signs. Yeah, I resisted, but I almost put a picture of a hot dog there. I'm sorry for all the... Because they were like, no, Nancy, we cannot go there. We cannot go there. But the whole idea of it was funny enough. So we didn't do that. Okay. Then I think maybe a year prior to the event. That's the other way for the viewers. Sorry for that. A year prior to the event, I was talking to Dens from Bar Team. I was like, yeah, there's this thing. I've always wanted to have my own beer. And preferably blonde beer. And lo and behold, they created Nancy Weers for me. Oh. And yeah, you can applaud for that, for the Bar Team. Yeah. So, because yes, that is my real name. And that picture, they used a picture that was made by Dennis van Zuiderkom. It's a project called Shoot All the Hackers. And I think they did an amazing job. It even had an NFC chip on the bottom. You can have one guess what happened if you scanned the NFC chip. Rickroll, indeed. They were numbered. And here's a picture of me with Crystal on stage where Marike gave it to us. And that was a beautiful moment and I really enjoyed it. So thanks again to the Bar Team because that was an amazing moment. Also, in Team Terrain, we had an amazing volunteer. Her name is Gina. Gina rocks. She is awesome. Everybody listened to her. For reasons, because she really was very great at leading all the volunteers and making sure that everybody on the terrain was looking out for safety, was making sure that the right vehicles were driving past the roads at the right time. And at one point, I'm paraphrasing because Crystal knows the exact quote, so if you want to know, ask her later. But it was something along the line like, the wagenweg is mine. Something like that. You know the exact wording. Get off my damn wagenweg. That was the exact wording. Get off my damn wagenweg. So we heard that, and I think it was a team up with Danielle again. So we made sure that we ordered a Gina Strasse, because she's from Germany, so it had to be a German street. And she was very, very pleased and happy with it. So that was also one of the things that I hold dear. When you ever get a question, Barbie, ? Say yes. Because then someone will get you a Barbie burner phone. You want that. Yeah. So, that was also, and you get text messages from Ken every once in a while. It's really hilarious. If you are ever in a position in your line of work where you need a burner phone, get one of those. It's really great fun. It's really great. And you get all these shiny, twinkly thingies, and it's really fun. Furthermore, there were newspapers writing about us. There was a radio show, and there was a big cyber debate because we had elections yesterday, of course. And that is also a personal thing for me because people asked me, it's even today, how was the cyber debate? It was organized by Chantal, by the way, and Brenno, and some other people who were also helping out. I was on call that day. I was on duty. And then, like 15 minutes before the cyber debate began, I got a phone call. Hey, so you're the head honcho right now. Extinction Rebellion is going to do a protest. Maybe at the cyber debate or at the picnic village. And we don't know where, and we don't know where they come from. What do you want us to do? Okay. So I had to make a choice on the spot. I said, okay, if they hurt people, or if they touch stuff from other people, just get rid of them. And otherwise, it's a free country. You can protest. So if people want to protest, they can. So people asked me, how was the cyber debate? Well, we were actually with a lot of people running around to make sure that we didn't find any people who want to see. We have no clue how it was, but it's supposedly fun. Yeah, it was fun. And I'm not going to talk too long about this, but we also had a blackout because a lot of people didn't even know it. I talked to Kees Konijn, and she said, "Oh, we had music and our bar was working, so nothing going on. We were just having a party." So, but the thing was, a lot of things happened at the same time that Friday afternoon. So the event started on Friday until Tuesday. And Friday afternoon, a part of the train was out of power, and it was for a larger part of the area. But toilets need electricity to get rid of shit, so that was sort of a problem. And then we heard, oh, there's also a gas leak, by the way, and also the doctor came and said, yeah, there are some people who have diarrhea and are vomiting. So that was all this Friday afternoon. There was a lot of going on. And what also happened is that some people filled in the blanks, but it wasn't true, and said, yeah, it's probably norovirus. Somebody came up with that. Luckily that was not true, because then we would have had an whole other problem. But there were all kinds of things happening at the same time. And then I had to ask a lot of teams to really do some improvisation, because that also meant we were about to start the program on Friday, that a lot of the talks and workshops and all the things that were very carefully curated by our lovely, lovely team content, and also Productiehuis, who was making sure that all the AV was in order and everything like that. So we really had to shuffle and shake everything up, and still thanks to team content, and not only Chantal, but also Jos, who's also somewhere in the audience, really had to work oh, there he is. Hi! Really, really had to work very, very hard to make everything happen. Luckily, at the end of the day, everything worked out fine. We did our openings eventually on the 9th, so a day after. And I think almost all the talks were replanned. And even there was this one talk by Elgar of 3 hours about the history of the Dutch house scene was moved to the big stage, which was actually way better than the initial plan. So look that talk up as well. That's an awesome talk as well. Oh, if you want to know where, there is a lot here. Groot cyberdebat. So if you go to the YouTube channel of Y, you can find a lot. You can also find a lot on ccc.media.de. Other way around. Almost done. Yeah. But all the talks of the last events are recorded. Actually, all the talks since 2001 are recorded of all the events. Especially the TOP red ones, of course. But so you can find a lot of cybersecurity, privacy, and any other knowledge there. So know that if after today you want more knowledge, go there and go watch all the cool stuff. Not quite there yet. We are not quite there yet. We are still, it's been 73 days since I handed the key in. So we are still working on evaluations. We have still a talk to go with the mayor. We really want to gather and form ideas to get more young people in. Although Jelko is here today, and Jelko was one of our youngest volunteers. Yay! But we have to find ways to get young people excited to join in the hacker scene. Because we still want to have an event in 16, 20, 24 years, hopefully. Because it's awesome. I have heard more than one person say it has been life-changing. And I think it does. It changed my life, for sure. After the first camp, I was like, my goodness, I cannot describe how awesome this is. So I really hope you are all coming the next edition, 2029. And something that I also want to do is get our numbers straight on everything, and diversity specifically. We don't have the numbers yet because our team content was busy organizing WICON. So that will be, those numbers will be available somewhere soonish. But I really want to know because, if you measure it, you can see if it improves, right? So more women on stage is, more better. Cool. At the beginning of the presentation, I started with a slide with Stitch on it, which said IFCAT vacancy alert. To round it up, we also have a new vacancy alert now, and that is that we are looking for a new treasurer. It will start in 2027. So coming year, Henry will still take care of things. If nobody signs up, Henry will still take care of things. But he said, and I think that's a good thing. I've done it twice now. I've done 2 events, and I would like to make room within the board of IFCAT for new people. So if you're like me and you think like somewhere it takes you a couple of months, like it happened with me, and then you're like, hey Nancy, I might be interested in, can we have a little chat on that? Or with Crystal or anyone else you know in the board? Please let us know. You will be guided, you will get help, you can just have a full year, you can walk aside Henry to get all the nitty gritty. But if you think, ooh, I might want to do that, please let us know. I already did a little bit of a giveaway. Will there be a 2029? August 2025. Dear Ada, in the closing ceremony, I received chaos posts from myself. Conmai from Chaos Post is also in the audience. Chaos Post, there she is. Chaos Post is awesome. Ask her all about it during drinks. You were on a postcard along with a bunch of other cool women that had an amazing impact on computer science. On the back, I wrote to myself, it was worth it. With a lot of people, great people, blood, sweat, tears, and ink, we pulled it off. I wouldn't have wanted to miss it for the world, and it is something that I am extremely, extremely proud of. So, if it all goes well, fork yes. Thank you very much.